it's kind of hilarious to see how corporations are bending like a pretzel right now in order to try and accommodate to the change in culture. Up until now, all they had to do was to find like the most fringe far left extremist, go on Reset Era or on Reddit, take that mental asylum and incorporate it into their game. And if you also can say like fuck right wingers, that would also be a plus. Your game would then become perfect, and anyone criticizing it, they were racist, they were transphobic, or any other sort of ism. And that's how marketing worked. But now Trump won. We don't have to pretend we're going with the mental asylum anymore. People are actually becoming conscientious consumers. They're not putting up with stuff. Pronouns in the video game seems to be an indicator of that. People just don't want to buy it anymore. They don't want to fund it. Now, unfortunately, for the left, they live on planet Earth. They exist on planet Earth in order to worship gender, right? Like, for them, the main thing in life is the cock and the pussy. Just make sure that the cock doesn't go into the pussy because that's heteronormative, that's gross, that's perverted, that's disgusting, that's problematic, right? No, what I'm talking about is what does a person have in their pants? Like, that is the essence of a human being, according to the left. And then how do they feel about what they have in their pants? In other words, the pronouns. That is the most sacred thing, right? So like the carnal thing, cock or pussy, and then the spiritual thing. How do you feel about having the cock and pussy? And this has to manifest in art and entertainment. This has to exist in video games, because otherwise it causes problems. And so now you have like the cultural shift. You have like the two ways of thinking that are crashing against each other, the left and the right. And how are corporations trying to navigate this? Well, I was actually curious with this new release of Monster Hunter, like how do they deal with this issue? And it seems that the way they deal is to try and avoid it completely. Like they're going full on gender abolitionist. They don't use the word male or female at all in their game. Instead, they use, I believe it's called appearance. I may be wrong. It's not body type, that's for sure. They use a different word for it, appearance. And then they use voice of a character where you have like a masculine voice or a female voice. But they also don't go pronouns as well, right? So like they're trying to find the middle ground. They're trying to just avoid this topic at all costs. And it's still not enough. People are upset about it, as you can see here. The Steam forum is filled with this. It's choice of pronouns. This is not a clown bait, not an LGBT post. I'm generally what interests this choice because, like, again, the game is very unnatural in English. Everyone will call you they, them during the game. Like, they're just finally accomplishing what the left always wanted. Abolish gender, right? Like, in the left vision of equality, men and women are interchangeable. They're like human resources, cogs in a machine. In order for a man to become a woman, they just need to make the assertion, and then they become a woman, right? So, like, this is what they were trying. Gender abolition. Stop using the word man and woman. Use they, them, appearance, body type. And so you have this person pointing out that during the game, his character was referred as they, them. But in a cutscene, they were referred as he, and they're curious like what actually triggers this. And for some people, apparently, like, again, this is spiritual in nation. Like, this is the essence of humanity. It's like what you have in your pants, and more importantly, how you feel about this. And this individual is being disrespected by the NPCs, right? Like, the NPCs keep referring to me as a woman, but I'm playing as a male character using male presets to modify my looks. I just wish to change my pronoun back to male. This is destroying my character identity, right? So, like, it's a religious crime committed against him, right? Like, his essence as a human is being challenged by this. Does anyone has a solution to the problem? Okay, despite the mental asylum that's coming from the left, in the real world, game developers do need to differentiate between men and women because of the ESRB. So in many of these games, especially like the left-leaning ones, heterosexuality is heavily suppressed, right? So like fan service is pushed down. But the people who do this are usually hags in nature, right? Like they are HR officers that are middle-aged women with no eggs. And they still have a sex drive. They still want to see sex appeal. This is why you get to see in all these video games male characters that wear a loincloth and they have like their chests on full display. It's because those are the people that this game is catering to. Like, society needs to cater to the sexual desires and fantasies of 45-year-old hags. Even worse, 45-year-old leftist hags, okay? So like the entire art style, everything we create has to cater to them. But the problem is the ESRB. Because while having Kratos showing his nipples is allowed, if you have Kratos as a woman, and it's the same model, no difference, well, all of a sudden the game receives an adult rating because you're showing nipples, right? So like the developers do need to know if a character is male or female. Now, in this game, the way it does know is based on the voice, right? So like if you pick a male voice for the character, then it's going to be considered as a guy. So even if you get they, them in most of the cutscenes, in some you may be called a he. Whether if you use a female voice, in some cutscenes, the game will call you a she. Absolutely fucking ridiculous. Bad shit insane. I don't know why games are even humoring this. It's just unnatural. Again, like, I'm a person from Eastern Europe. Like, all of this seems incredibly weird. Because, like, if I was a transgender person, like, what is a transgender person? Like, I would view myself as a woman, right? Like, I'm born in the wrong body. I'm a woman. Well, wouldn't I just play as a female character then? Like, why would it be that in fiction, I would create a male character and identify as a woman? I'm generally curious. Like, I would want to talk with the person that argues in favor of this, and I would be curious, like, how would you view yourself in an isekai? Like, if you're isekai in another world and you're a woman, would you then identify as a man who's born in the wrong body? So like, your identity would be that of a man who wants to be a woman, even though in the isekai universe, you would be a cis woman. That actually did happen. That there was, like, a troll, like an actual woman that dressed herself like Mulvaney, and said that she's not a cis woman, she's a trans woman. So, like, she identified, like, the woman identified as a man who identifies as a woman and dressed accordingly. And she got a lot of trans hate because of that. Like, the internet was up in roars. They were trying to cancel her. Do you guys remember that? It was funny. But yeah, so, like, all this horseshit is not needed. In fact, like, the ideology is created specifically to cause a problem, to create an issue, so that it can then offer the solution for the problem they created with consultants and have a grift and the money to keep flowing. In reality, like, not many people care about this. Like, if you just make a normal game where, you know, you have male or female body types, you have no pronouns, and it's just like a normal RPG, the same way that RPGs before 2018 were done, and they were hyper popular, and no one complained, no one brought it up. I'm pretty sure that if you go with it again, you would completely avoid this. But the reality is, I think, like, companies enjoy this shit because it distracts from the real issue. And the real issue is that the game is poorly optimized. Like, if you don't have a new rig, if you don't have, like, one of those NVIDIAs that you need to connect an actual power station for your computer to run, and when you look at the electricity bill, you're getting a heart attack. Unless you're having that, don't expect this game to run good unless you lock the frames. So either you play this game that looks mediocre, or you upgrade your rig. Because the game, in my opinion, is very poorly optimized. Again, it's not that it's unplayable. Like, if you have a good rig, it is playable. But it doesn't justify. Like, it doesn't look like Crysis. It doesn't look like Far Cry used to look. You know, it doesn't look as if the new rig is a justifiable purchase. Like, oh, Monster Hunter is such a gorgeous game. I should upgrade my PC to play it. No, it looks like the same types of games we've played up until now. It's just that you require a super PC in order to play it properly. And I don't understand why, which the only reason is that the game is not optimized correctly. Anyway, right, let me know what you guys think. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.